Adam Taxin talking with Daniel Greenfield about his Sunday, August 12th, 2012 column, which is called Tears Don't Protect Against Murder, and is perfectly fitting for the end of the Olympics in London, which one big story that went throughout the Olympics was the failure of the IOC to really give the appropriate recognition to the 40th anniversary of the massacre in Munich. And Daniel, in your column, you talk a lot about what happened in the aftermath of Munich, and you give a little bit of a different perspective than the Steven Spielberg movie. Can you give us a little bit of a history lesson? I like when you do that every once in a while with our interviews.
Well, I don't think it's that much of a mystery. Obviously, for those who've seen the Spielberg movie, well, that's just an abomination, one of the most repulsive things anybody has ever done. But it's not really a great mystery, but it's certainly part of the legend since then that Israel began hunting down some PLO leaders and various Fatah officials who were responsible.
And but you talk about someone named Willie Pohl, or maybe it's Villy Pohl, and I didn't know about this, and I'm probably a little better informed than most people who are listening. Can you talk a little bit about him?
Well, he was an accessory in the attack. There were about a month or two ago. There were several news stories discussing his complicity in that. There was some debate of whether he was a neo-Nazi or a communist. Turned out he was more of a communist, but
he was German, right?
What?
He was German, not Arab, correct?
Yes, he was German. He was not Muslim. He was not Arab or Muslim.
Oh, sorry.
After he was released from prison, he went to Beirut and began a career as a mystery novelist. He's considered a well-regarded mystery novelist in Germany now.
Oh, lovely. Now, talk about the lessons in terms of what Ehud Barak and especially Benjamin Netanyahu have picked up from the lessons of Munich and the greater point that we've only skirted around so far, which is that tears don't protect against murder.
Well, Tears Again Don't Protect Against Murder is a title that I took from Pohl's first novel, but I'm not altogether certain that Netanyahu and Barak have actually learned the lesson, and that is the lesson that tears don't protect against murder. That complaining to the world, that talking about Israeli Jewish victims accomplishes nothing. 40 years after the fact, it might make for a few Oscar-winning movies, and that's about it. If you don't want to be murdered, then you have to protect yourself. Then you have to kill your murderers, and that's pretty much that simple.
So peace through strength is the only thing that really works.
Indeed, it's how human affairs work. There's the widespread idea in Jewish circles and pro-Israel circles that we need more Hasbara, that we need more.
Explain what Hasbara is for people who don't know the term.
More promotion of Israel, more pro-Israel material, and all that is nice in a way, but it doesn't really solve anything, as I've tried to say repeatedly. This is not a problem that needs to be solved by improving Israel's image, because the problem with Israel's image is that Israel is under attack, and Israel isn't fighting back. As long as that persists, the problem persists.
How does this all relate to the whole concept of land for so-called peace?
The whole program, the idea of it was that if we make enough compromises, if we give up enough territory, there will be peace. Obviously, there is no peace. Peace isn't anywhere in sight, and it's not going anywhere. And the whole response to that has been, more tears. Look at how many Israelis have been killed by terrorism. You know what? The world knows how many Israelis have been killed by terrorism. It really doesn't. The politicians, the people, the ones who are either on the left or beholden to the oil machine, they know and they don't care.
Daniel, you know what I thought of? Whenever I've seen these terrorist attacks, which Muslims kill a lot of Europeans, it seems like the inevitable thing, and you maybe have written about this previously, is they come out with these candles and candlelight vigils, and I often think, what do the Muslim terrorists think of this?
He's thinking, look, the people are crying, they're upset, they're sad, they're not doing anything about it, and that's the key point. They don't. This is not a propaganda war the way that some people think. The propaganda war can't really be won in that sense of the word, because our side doesn't have the oil, and it doesn't have anything to actually sell except suffering, and nobody cares very much about suffering.
Yeah. This is a digression of mine, but a certain song got stuck in my head as I read this. It has nothing to do with Israel or even peace through strength, but I don't know if you remember back in like the mid-1980s, there was the song Do They Know It's Christmas, which was British, and then the Americans came out with We Are the World, but there was a Canadian version. It was actually called Tears Are Not Enough. Probably was a better song than We Are the World. Any final thoughts, lessons to be learned from this particular column that you want people to take away with them, besides peace through strength?
Well, the core thought is the one that's still in the title. Tears don't protect against murder. That's really the one thing to take away from it. The entire idea that we can avert all this, that we can fix all this if we just inform enough people of Israel's plight. I mean, it's nice to do, and it can change the minds of individuals. But in the big picture, just as then, now, it's not a matter of just making a case to those in authority. It's a matter of Israel resolving the problem.
Daniel Greenfield, your column can be found at sultankanish.blogspot.com. Thanks as always.